Be like a bird who's halting in her flight on a limb so slight, feels it giving way beneath her and sings, sings, knowing she has wings, and sings, sings, knowing she has wings.
I'm Bianca, I'm a second year, and I'm from Italy.
I'm Goya, I'm a first year, and I'm from the Netherlands and Hungary. I think for me, traditional skills are the skills that come from the area of Maine that we've been camping in, and so it's all traveler skills. So things like canoeing, building a campfire, knowing how to build a shelter without relying on modern technology to some extent. Partially.
As much as we can.
We're even a little more modern than traditional skills per se, because, for example, sometimes we bring coolers instead of having pack baskets and only one guns. And the canoes that we're using are all, they're not the traditional canoes in canvas and wood or a birch bark. We're using plastic canoes. So sometimes you also have to do some compromises. Sometimes for certain gear it takes a lot of knowledge of the gear and the skills to handle it properly. For example, a birch bark canoe, if you were to go into it into rapids with a birch bark canoe without having paddled before, and you crash into a rock, you might break it. Well, a plastic canoe is much more forgiving. So yeah, you have to do some compromises.
The idea behind it is trying to connect a little bit more to the historical way they used to travel here in Maine. And then the outing club started to develop this program with Alexandra, and it's a program based on water traveling all like year round. So you start with canoeing in spring and fall, and then you do winter camping and ice traveling.
Wouldn't it be a wondrous thing if the children of the world could live together in peace? Wouldn't it be a wondrous thing if the children of the world could live together in peace?
In the winter, we did a week-long winter camping trip where we traveled using sleds, so pulling our stuff, and we traveled on a lake, and we went from place to place. And so we would walk on the ice because the ice was so thick. And then every night we would set up camp, and then in the morning we would leave again.
Yeah, winter camping is it's really challenging for your body because you put yourself into 0 degree Fahrenheit or minus 20 Celsius, or anyways really cold. And then you have to deal with learning all these new skills, and there's knots you have to do, and then the knots freeze, and it's windy, and there you get snow in your eyes. It's a lot of new things that you get exposed to in a situation that's not comfortable for your body because you're not used to it. And I mean, humans are not adapted to that temperature range anyways. But I think it also gives you so much. You really learn really quickly because you have to learn. You're in that situation, and it's crazy the difference you get between the first day of the trip and the last day of the trip. How much the group knows, how much efficient you get, and you really start enjoying it by the end.
Like, ow!
I'm Alexandra Conover Bennett, and I'm a guide, a registered Maine guide. I graduated from College of the Atlantic in 1977 and have a wonderful life guiding. Today we're on the Big Wilson Stream in Elliotsville Township, my hometown here in central Maine, and we're working at poling and lining and tracking canoes, some of the traditional travel skills of the North that I'm in love with. Most of us were raised, a canoe, you get in it, you hop in, and somehow the water's floating down, and so you follow it downriver. And isn't it fun? And you bounce off rocks because you've got plastic boats that do that. But if you stick around canoes long enough, you realize, and you have some curiosity, wow, I wonder where that river goes, or hey, I wonder if I went up the river, and then, look at this stream, where does that stream come from? What if I went up that stream? Well, now you're starting to think like a human who's been around on this planet for a long, long time. Curiosity gets you more food, more herbs, more herbal medicines, fresh water, clean landscapes. So people explored for time out of mind, again, using poles to use when the river has dropped in level so it's less than this feet deep in water and your paddles start hitting gravel. That's when you grab your pole and you push your way upriver with alacrity and grace, once you've acquired the skill. Now let's suppose you've gotten upstream anywhere from 2 miles to 200 miles. You can do that easily in the state of Maine, 200 miles upriver. Now you decide, wouldn't it be fun to just turn around and go downriver? That's when, in the headwaters, it's going to be shallow. You still need your pole. Paddle, you can put on the brakes for all you're worth, and it's not going to stop the canoe. So you need a pole to be your brakes. A pole allows you to go through all sorts of rapids with full control. You can stop, you can back up, you can switch sides of the river standing using a pole. You can drop down through the rapids, then you can sit back down, take your paddle if the water's deep again, and continue paddling.
I think what I also find really special is how you can just put 10 random people together and just create a group that in the end is able to trust each other and rely on each other in conditions that are quite, not dangerous sometimes, but even with, for example, winter camping, that you really need to trust because you can't do everything by yourself, and you build a group that can just function in a way where everyone can rely on each other and you do things together and you build something that you could never do on your own. Even in canoeing, when we were poling yesterday and people fell out and capsized and everyone was willing to help, and we just have a good laugh about it because it's more than just being able to rely on each other, we also have so much fun together.
Yeah.
Define it more as awareness rather than skill. Just being always being aware of what's around you and the impact you're having on your surroundings, and a respect for nature and for the gear that you're using and the people that you meet. It's a really beautiful feeling. It's hard to describe.
When the day is done, Mother Earth awakens me to the heartbeat of the sea. Evening rise, spirits come, sun goes down when the day is done. Mother Earth awakens me to the heartbeat of the sea. Evening rise, spirits come, sun goes down when the day is done. Mother Earth awakens me to the heartbeat of the sea.